There was no big dramatic moment, no single event you could point to and say, that is when everything changed. It happened so slowly, quietly, so quietly that for a long time, you didn't even know it was really happening. You just noticed that somewhere along the way, you stopped laughing so much. You stopped having opinions as quickly. You started choosing your words more carefully, measuring them before you spoke, bracing yourself for what might come back at you. Basically, you stopped being you. And if you're sitting there right now thinking, how does he know that? It's because what you are describing has a name. It's because what you're experiencing has a name. And today I want to talk about exactly how a husband with narcissistic traits quietly, methodically steals his wife's joy through criticism, through invalidation, and through control. Often without ever raising a hand, and sometimes without even raising his voice. Before I get into this, if this is already resonating with you, I want you to know that there's a community of women who are walking through exactly what you are walking through. It's called the Detox Your Marriage Community. There's a link down below. You can join. It's totally free. And if you're at a point where you want to talk to someone about your specific situation and map out a change process, you can book a consultation call with me. Again, totally free, no strings attached, just a real conversation. The links for both of those are down below. Now, let's get into this. The first way a narcissistic husband steals his wife's joy is through criticism, chronic criticism. I'm not talking about the occasional frustrated comment that every marriage has. I'm talking about a pattern, a steady, relentless drip of commentary about everything you do, everything you say, everything you are. It might sound like you're too sensitive. You're always overreacting. You're always making a big thing out of things. It might be, why did you do it that way? Or that's not what I meant. You just never listen. None of those is a slap. None of those is something you could take to a counselor and say, look what he said. But over months and years, that kind of criticism does something devastating. It makes you the problem. Always the problem. And you become the one who's too much, or too sensitive, or too needy. And here's the cruelest part. Many of these women are high-functioning, intelligent, and accomplished at work. They're professionals. They're mothers of great kids. They're leaders in their communities or maybe in churches. And yet inside their own home, they've come to believe quietly and deeply that there's something fundamentally wrong with them. Now, I want you to hear really clearly from me that this is not a character flaw on your part. This is the predictable result of sustained, targeted criticism from the one person in the world who is supposed to be your safe place. The second way that he steals her joy is through invalidation. This is one of the things that's harder to see because it doesn't always look like an attack. Sometimes it looks more like just indifference. Sometimes it looks like being logical when logic is not what's required. So invalidation sounds like you're making a big thing out of nothing. I don't know why you're crying, or you're always so dramatic. I said I was sorry, what more do you want? Right? That kind of stuff. When your feelings are consistently dismissed, when you try to express heard and are met with eye rolling or sighing or a detailed explanation of why your feelings don't make logical sense, then you just learn to stop expressing them. And then eventually you learn to stop trusting your own intuition. And that's the part that breaks my heart the most. When we talk with women in this kind of situation, they'll say, I don't even know what I feel anymore. I don't trust my own reactions. I'm second-guessing everything. You see, it's not confusion. It's the result of a person whose inner world has been systematically dismissed, minimized, and overridden for years. The truth is, you're not too much. You simply never were too much. You simply were giving your emotions to someone who did not have the capacity or the willingness to hold them, to make space for them. The third way is control. Again, we're not necessarily talking about dramatic, obvious control. We're talking about the kind that hides inside practicality and finances and scheduling and, just looking out for the family. Control can look like managing the money so tightly that she has to ask for basic things and then be questioned about them. It can look like subtle veto power over her friendships. I don't really like it when you spend time with her. I think she's a bad influence. It can look like deciding how the family's time is spent. Controlling where to go to church, how the children are raised without her input invited, or maybe with her input invited, just enough to create the appearance of a partnership, but then her input is dismissed if it doesn't align with what he has already decided in his mind. Does that resonate? If it does, drop a note in the comments and let me know. It can even look like controlling her emotional space. Let me explain what that means. Like who she is allowed to be upset with, what she is allowed to find funny or not, whether she's permitted a bad day without him turning it around and making it about him. Over time, a woman in this environment, she just stops making decisions. Not because she's incapable, she's highly capable, but because every decision has become a potential trigger. Every choice, a potential argument. And so it's easier, safer, quieter to just not. And that's how a woman who was once full of life, full of vision, full of herself, slowly disappears inside her own marriage. But I want to stop here and say something directly. It's very important. If this video has felt less like watching content and more like someone finally reading your diary, I want you to hear this really clearly. You're not crazy, and you're not too sensitive, and you're not the problem. I unpack more about this in a book that's coming out very soon, but for now, I want you to know that what you are is a woman who's been living in an environment that was designed, whether intentionally or not, to make you doubt yourself. And the fact that you're here, watching this, trying to understand what is happening, is not weakness, but it is the beginning of something good. You see, the joy that's been quietly taken from you, it's not gone, it's not destroyed, it's just been suppressed. And what is suppressed can be recovered. Women do it. I've watched them do it, and I've helped them do it, to find their voice again, to find their center again, really like to find themselves again. And they don't have to do it alone. If you're ready to stop doing this alone, I want to invite you to two things. One, the Detox Your Marriage community. It's a private, moderated space where women are navigating exactly this kind of marriage and getting help. They're getting help without having to explain it because we get it, we know it. And there's women that are further along in the journey and they can show you there is a way through. The link to join that free community, it's down below. The second is a consultation call with me personally. It's not a sales call, there's no script, it's just a conversation where it takes some time to understand your unique situation, what you're living in, and a discussion where you get to decide whether private coaching help is the right next step for you. If you're at that point where you're just tired of just surviving and you want to start actually healing and living again, that call is where we begin. The link for that is also down below in the description. So if this video has spoke something to you that you haven't been able to say out loud yet, share it with someone that you know and trust. Because you never know who in your world has been waiting for someone to finally name what they're going through. All right? See you in the next video.